So if you're somebody who's thinking about changing their jobs, or you're a graduate looking at different jobs and accountancy has come up as one of your options, this video should be for you. I've been an accountant for many years. I've been a qualified accountant. I've worked in several different roles, and I'm going to summarize my top 5 reasons why you would want to be an accountant in 2020. But before I get started, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and let's go. So it's worth knowing here, when I'm talking about accountants, I'm not talking about working in a high street accountancy practice where you work on company accounts for individuals or tax returns. I'm talking about corporate accounting, where you're working for large businesses and working in a finance department. So, with that being said, the first reason why I think you should want to be an accountant is that you get to understand the company. There's no better role in a business than the finance role for getting a breadth of what's happening in the business. If you work in an operational role or a sales role, you might just see what's happening within your team and not know how that's impacting the business at large. If you work in a finance role, you generally see a much broader aspect of what's going on in that business. It isn't just debits and credits in terms of what's affecting the P&L statement and the balance sheet. There's actions that have gone behind each transaction, and as a financial accountant, you have to understand what is driving that to really understand what's going on in the business. The second reason why you might want to consider being an accountant is the salary. Now, as an ACA qualified accountant, the average salary as reported by ICAEW is £134,000. Now, that average might have been pushed up by, say, CFOs and a lot of people in higher up roles who have the ACA qualification, but still, it's something to aim for. And actually, as a starting salary for someone who's a qualified accountant, generally speaking, that is a lot higher than other roles within the business. You have a professional qualification, which gives you the right to ask for a much higher salary, and it could be 50-60% more than, say, other people who are within that business starting out. See, within, say, 5 to 10 years of actually being an accountant, say you're at a financial manager role, you could be thinking about having a salary around £70,000-100,000, and given the type of company, you might actually get bonuses on top of that. So salary is definitely something to consider when you're thinking about being a financial accountant. The third reason why you might want to be an accountant is that there is variety. Now, a lot of people won't understand this. They just think an accountant is someone who prepares a set of accounts. Actually, they don't even think that. A lot of people just think accountants look after money, or they don't really understand what accountants do. But in a job, but actually in a business, there are lots of different roles. So you can just be in, say, a controllership department where you prepare sets of accounts, or you could be an operational accountant, or you could work in the FP&A department, which is financial planning and analysis, which is a more forward-looking role. So you're not preparing what's happened in the past, but you're doing budgets and you're doing planning for what you think is going to happen in the future. You can be a commercial business partner, and with that kind of role, you're looking at more metrics to do with how the business is being driven, as opposed to looking at metrics that are specific to, say, the profit or loss account on the balance sheet. So there's lots of different sections even within the finance department of a business. That means there's a benefit in being able to move horizontally within a business, even within a finance department, because you can get an understanding of reporting, you can get an understanding of how the operations work, or you get an understanding of how the sales team work. There's lots of different ways you can support the business in these kind of roles, which is worth understanding, because other operational roles, you might just go in at one level and there might not be enough room to move around. The fourth one I want to mention is job security. Now, this one acts twofold, okay? The first one is that because there's lots of roles within the business, if there's any sort of restructuring, there might be opportunities for you to move into different departments within the finance department. Also, given that some of the finance department's role is a statutory requirement, which means you have to legally present certain financial statements, and given that departments are normally quite small, it means that there's a serious reliance on the work that you do having to get done. So when jobs are having to be cut back, a finance department role might be one of the last ones to be considered, compared to, say, an operational role where there might be more flexibility in whether that role could be cut or not. And because there's a lot of training that goes into understanding the business, the financial accounts, how the whole systems operate within that business, they may be reluctant to get rid of you because it's harder to scale up a finance department than, say, some other operational role which has less of a qualification needed in order to be able to do that role. Another reason why there's job security is that most businesses that have, say, more than 250 employees generally have a finance department. It is a very important role, and it's one of the pillars that make up how that business operates. If they have a good sales team or operational team, a finance team, all these things have to work together to make that business profitable. So that being said, even if you get cut from your current role or your business because something awful might happen, like they have to restructure and it's no fault of your own, there's always going to be a job available at other businesses. Now, see, a lot of people that may not understand accountancy might think that, with the technological advancements, accountancy won't be around in 10 years' time. That might be true on a processing level, but there'll always be a finance department controlling where money is spent. And actually, as more technological advancements come in, it makes the job more enjoyable because it becomes a more decision-making role as opposed to a processing role. My fifth and final reason why you might want to be an accountant is there's a lot of independence in this role. See, this might not apply if you're a very junior member of the team, but once you become more senior and you become a qualified accountant, generally speaking, you don't get micromanaged. See, if I'm working in, say, a business partnering role as a financial accountant, I like to just be able to work on my own project. There's a lot of reasons why it's good to be self-reliant in this way. The main one for me is that you can actually see something start and finish and get a feeling that you're actually completing tasks and moving things forward. When a role is more determined on you just being micromanaged, you sometimes feel like you're a very small cog in a big chain and you're not actually making progress. But if you become more senior in an accountancy role, it means that you can control projects at large, and then you can see things actually being completed and you can see how your work is actually moving that business forward. So those are my 5 reasons. You get to understand the business, the salary's good, there's a lot of variety within a finance department, job security, and also you work with a certain level of self-reliance and independence. Now, this goes without saying that not all finance departments will be a fun environment, and the sad truth is, if people in that company are not great, then the job won't be great. And it's very hard to avoid this. Basically, whatever the culture is within a company, what people are like, how does it get managed from above, what is the general messaging, how is the workload, what is the pressure people are putting on you. These generally are more determining factors of whether you're going to enjoy the role. But generally speaking, if you're a financial accountant, it gives you a breadth of being able to work for different kind of companies and see the business at large. And with that being said, those are my 5 reasons. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.